What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Fantasy Flex podcast. This is for everyone clocking those late night DFS hours. It's our night shift episode for week number 13. We'll break down the Sunday night and Monday night football DFS slates. I am your host, Chris Raybon of the Action Network, and here to break down these games with me, one of the most accurate fantasy football rankers in the game, the odds maker, Sean Kerner. Sean, what's going on?
What's up? Only 2 games to cover this week. I don't know. Like, are we done with international games? Or are there more coming up?
I think we're done. Yeah, that was
damn.
That was the most I think the NFL has ever played. But yeah, then we're back to normal schedule. Obviously, Christmas in a few weeks, then that will switch things up. I think we got some Saturday games, some multiple Monday games. But
3 Monday night games that week. That'll be fun.
Yep. For now, we're back to the normal slate, and we'll get into Sunday night football in a second. If you haven't listened to our full fantasy preview episode, it's out right now on this channel. We break down the Thursday night slate and the main slate. Our player projections episodes over on the Action Network podcast channel for week 13. That's where we look at our top ranked guys we're high and low on compared to the market, and throw out some props. So be sure to check that out as well as the Action Network Discord server, link in the episode description for that. But let's get right into this Sunday night football matchup. We have the Kansas City Chiefs at Lambeau taking on the Packers. Chiefs favored by 6.5. The total is 42. Luck rankings, Kansas City's been the 12th luckiest. Green Bay's been the 25th luckiest. So there is a little bit of a gap there. And there's also a plus 1.9 luck total, which is the third highest. So pointing toward the over here, and Green Bay has been unlucky compared to KC. Where are you going in the captain spot?
I'm going kind of rogue here. I'm going with Jaden Reed. Last week I thought with Aaron Jones out, it might make sense to use Reed as sort of like a Debo-like role, get him some design run attempts, just give them an explosive option to counter A.J. Dillon. And sure enough, they kind of did. They gave him 2 carries, went for 16 yards, but I could see them giving him more design runs going forward, maybe seeing, 3 to 4 rush attempts here. But it's just a nice bonus for a guy that's already catching 3 to 4 balls most game. He has big play upside. So, on a slate where I think there's a handful of good options, there's like a ton of receivers you can take a flyer on here for this slate. It's kind of fun using him in the captain slot because I do think he has the upside you kind of want in that captain slot and a pretty high floor. So I like going a little bit contrarian here with Jaden Reed in the captain slot.
Yeah, it makes sense because, you do have Mahomes and Kelsey, some high-priced guys that, maybe you can fit them in better without, paying up for one of them in the captain spot. Obviously, the captain has to hit, but Jaden Reed, he's been, I think, outperforming everyone's expectations so far this year. I'm gonna go away from Mahomes and Kelsey as well. I'm gonna go with Isaiah Pacheco in the captain spot, averaging just under 17 carries per game his last 3 games. Green Bay is below average against the run. They're allowing 5.3 yards a carry to running backs their last 3 games, and for whatever reason, Pacheco has been better on the road this season, averaging 84 scrimmage yards and 0.8 touchdowns compared to 75 and just 0.3 at home. So this is a spot where, Kansas City later in the year, shaky run defense. I think they continue to lean on Pacheco here.
Yeah, especially if McKinnon's out again. Pacheco had 5 catches last game, 68% routes run rate. So just his upside's even massiver without Jerick McKinnon in the mix.
Yeah, absolutely. That's definitely a great point. That unlocks a bunch of receiving snaps for Pacheco. But either way, love him in this spot. What are you doing for value?
I'm going to go with Tucker Kraft here, who, he took over for Luke Musgrave last week, and his 88% route participation was even higher than Musgrave's highest rate of 86% back in week 3. So, he's getting some elite playing time. Unfortunately, he only caught 2 passes for 15 yards, but one of them was a touchdown. And he was a 3rd-round pick this year, 1 round later than Musgrave. He does have some upside as a pass catcher. So if he keeps getting this, underlying playing time, I expect his target rate to only go up going forward. So, he could be a solid, high end tight end too, kind of like Musgrave was at times this year. So I think he's a solid play for this single game slate.
Yeah, absolutely. I think everyone's going to look toward those Green Bay receivers a little bit more, but Tucker Kraft, another guy that's going to be out there pretty much every snap with Musgrave out. I'm going with Rashee Rice here. This is a great matchup for Rice. Green Bay plays the fourth most zone coverage. Rice is averaging 3.1 yards per route against zone per PFF compared to just 1.7 against man. So massive difference. And Rice's 3.1 yards per route against zone coverage ranks second in the entire NFL out of 135 qualifiers. The only guy he's behind is a guy he's essentially replacing in a way in Tyreek Hill. And just to show you how crazy Tyreek Hill is, Rice is number 2 with 3.1 yards per route against zone. Tyreek Hill's number 1 at 4.1. Like, so it's got a whole nother yard. I mean, it's absurd, but Rice has really come on strong here. Perfect matchup for him. And, I know Hardman just went on IR. They got Richie James back, but seems like Rice, firmly in that top 4 in terms of receivers and for Kansas City now, and getting enough playing time with Mahomes, right around 60% of these snaps to be productive. So I like him in that mid range. Who do you like for dart throws?
I like Noah Gray. With the Chiefs wide receiver room being, a game of musical chairs all year, Gray's benefited a bit from that. He's stable. He's right around a 40-45% route run rate on Mahomes dropbacks. So he can easily catch, 2 to 3 passes here. But if he scores a touchdown, which he does on occasion, it'd be excellent leverage against Kelsey teams and the rest of the slate. So I think he's worth a flyer on the single game slate. And we've seen, Reed likes to get creative around, the goal line. So I think Gray is a decent bet here for like a vulture touchdown.
Yeah, he hasn't gotten a target inside the red zone yet this year. So he's due.
He's due.
I think even Blake Bell has one. So, yeah. I like Dontavian Wicks in this spot. He cleared concussion protocol, so good sign. That means he should be back here. That gives him another option with Musgrave out. And he had already seen 4 more targets each of his last 4 games on a 42% route participation rate. Last 3 games, at least 3 catches and at least 49 yards in each of them. So this guy is emerging, giving the defense another guy to kind of pay attention to. And Jordan Love has been really efficient targeting Wicks compared to some of the other receivers for the Green Bay Packers. So I think you continue to see Wicks move up in terms of playing time here, especially with the tight ends, with Musgrave. I think, they could go to more, heavy, like 4 wide receiver sets, have the tight end blocking or whatnot on some pass downs as well. So like Wicks here to continue to put up, somewhere in that 3 to 4 catch range, maybe sniff 50 plus yards again. So like him in that dart throw range.